Well, good morning and welcome wherever you might be joining us. We're at Coolangatta Beach in Australia. Where are you? How beautiful it is to be down here in the Beach Pro Tour. Thanks to Volleyball World, we are at the Gold Coast Futures event and we are set for a women's semi-final number one at stake, a place in the gold medal match. Hello, good morning and welcome. My name is Jonathan Fogarty. What a privilege to be courtside bringing you all of the action of the USA versus Japan. The USA in the maroon tops. It is the combination of Kloth and Nuss. They came through the qualifier. We seeded them 16 in the main draw, and they are maybe one win away from the final. Standing between them and that aim is a really good Japanese team and the number 7 seeded team, Suzuka Hashimoto and Reika Murakami. So they are on left of screen in the green, the USA combination on the right of screen. We are ready to go underway, women's semi-final number one. I'll let you know who these ladies are as we go through. The taller of the two American ladies, Kloth. She's wearing the number 2. Her partner, Nuss, the number 1. Oh, what a good block to start. Well, that's a nice way to get underway. The blocking athlete there on that occasion from Japan, Suzuka Hashimoto at the net. Murakami back to the service line. And hard-driven ball off the blocker's hands this time, so she couldn't go back-to-back blocks, but that's a really nice way to start because it's going to just put the little seeds of doubt in the Americans' minds that, boy, oh boy, they're going to have to work hard to get around Hashimoto's block today. Best of 3 sets, you will go through to the final, the gold medal match. The loser, of course, goes to the bronze. Suzuka Hashimoto, 28 years of age. Reika Murakami, 25. Up against the American ladies, Kloth and Nuss. Line was the call, executed it, but not quite well enough, couldn't land it. So the breeze starting to come up. If you don't know Coolangatta Beach very well, you might be in another part of the world. G'day and welcome. What you're looking at as you look across the court, the ocean is basically the northern end. That's to the north. We're looking straight up the beach, almost to the west. So the court runs south-north from the left to the right. And the conditions have been really lovely. We've had a lot of rain in this part of the world, but the last few days have been really, really nice. And thankfully, we've been able to turn on some wonderful conditions for the Gold Coast Futures event. And the athletes from all over the world, we hope they've enjoyed their stay. It's been delightful hosting international teams again after the last couple of years of international competition that we haven't really had. Hard-driven ball. Good enough. Kloth with the winner on that occasion. So early scoreboard, 4-3 at the moment. It is the USA combination, Kloth and Nuss with a 1-point lead. Apologies to the family of Nuss, who I described as being 33 years of age yesterday when I was commentating. The internet cannot be trusted, as I hope you all know, folks. She's, of course, 24 years of age. Oh. Not a bad decision from Kloth. She decided right at the last minute to peel back, make that defensive play, but the spike was good enough. So 4 points all. First set action. Japanese combination, Hashimoto, Murakami. This is Murakami from the service line. Nice defense as well. Transition opportunity. Oh, that's nice. The inside-out roll shot. Just the elasticity of the arm and shoulder joint from the Japanese athlete. Wonderful skills. Gives them the lead, 5-4, neck and neck stuff. First women's semi-final. Block was there, Hashimoto again, but she'll get another opportunity. And that ball is going to be called as a lift on the hands of Nuss, and she's just asking the question, first referee, just indicating it stayed in the hands a little too long. Wants to see a little bit of crispness with the setting skill. It's not a catch and a throw. It's got to be a nice, quick contact. That looked pretty nice too, though. It's got to be said. Kloth hits the winner. And they're a team of some quality, this USA combination, Kloth and Nuss. They recently won an event on the American AVP Tour, which is incredibly deep and talented tour. So to win an event on the AVP shows that you are a team in great control of your game and with pretty good skills. That's a service error, so 7-5 now. Japan up by 2. Murakami, Hashimoto. This is Hashimoto serving and getting into the blocking posture. Doing a nice job. Nuss is there. Oh, and that's clever from Nuss. Composed herself. Had a sneaky peek at the retreating Japanese defense and then found the seam between the two Japanese players. So 6-7. USA fighting hard, down by 1. Good patience. Reika Murakami brings up another point for her team. So 8 points to 6 now. And one of the question marks I've got in my mind is how the legs are going of the American combination of Taryn Kloth and Kristen Nuss. They had to play the qualifier, so they had to qualify to get into the main draw. So they played extra games, then they came through the main draw, undefeated. Now they've made it to the semi-final. It's a nice angle from Kloth. And I'm sure their fitness is spectacular. It is pretty early in the season for the Northern Hemisphere teams in many ways. So they've had a good rest overnight and have come out and they're going to throw everything at this semi-final. But they have played more game time in this tournament than anyone left in the draw. So be fascinated to see if this is a long 3-setter, does that start to factor against them? They're pretty economical in their play at the moment. 9 points to 7. Hashimoto, Reika up by 2. It's a nice angle. Once again, just the versatility of Taryn Kloth and her attacking options. It's one thing to be tall, but it's to be tall, athletic, and use it intelligently. And certainly, Kloth seems to have the ability to be multi-dimensional in her attack. But once again, you'll see that a lot from Japan. Murakami, the number 2, from 3 meters off the net, they're going to hit a lot of balls from back there and still hit winners, almost a trouble shot. Great control of the ball. As the wind picks up, that'll make them harder and harder to read. That ball's in again, that cross court. Well, she just keeps going back to the well. Well, why not? It's working perfectly for Kloth. They've served her almost exclusively. The Japanese ladies clearly have a plan. Serve at the taller of the 2 USA athletes. Set a block. Cross court, but she's been better than that. And that ball just on the end of the knuckles, getting away from Murakami. She could see her disappointed with that one. So 10 points all. Nice little comeback. The USA combination staying calm and composed. Some nice play by Kloth, particularly from the service line and the net. She gets a nice touch. She'll get a transition opportunity. This time, well, she changed the game. She'd been going cross-court so effectively, but goes line and misses. So we go into the technical timeout in the first set, women's semi-final. The Japanese combination, Hashimoto and Murakami, up by 1. Welcome back. Look at the Aussie boys just working hard in the deep sand here at Coolangatta. It is very deep sand here too. I know a lot of the athletes love coming to play here. It is a real jumpers, a real athletes beach. Coolangatta, if that makes any sense at all. Some of the tournaments around the world are played on a harder packed sand. It's not as deep. It is a deep sand here at Coolangatta Beach, and it's 11-10. Suzuka Hashimoto and Reika Murakami are leading by the merest margin. They go back to the taller of the two USA athletes. But Kloth, well, she doesn't seem in any way perturbed by all of the attention she's receiving on serve receive. The alumnus from Crichton University, I think I said yesterday, I couldn't believe the stats. Part of her time at Crichton, they won the Big East Conference 4 times in a row. She was a big part of all of those campaigns. So, very complete volleyball at both forms of the game. Forming a nice combination with Kristen Nuss here on the beach. They go back to her on serve. This time she puts a bit of pepper on it, and that's a nice swing as well. The Japanese ladies, they've blocked her. They've decided not to block her. They haven't quite settled on what the way they want to defend against the height and the power of Kloth. Haven't really unpacked that one just yet. Let's see. There it is. Nuss has read it well. So has the Japanese defender. So it's point for point, side out for side out, rally for rally at the moment. This is a great rally. Here's an opportunity for Japan. What can they do? Oh, it's going to go too big, too long. Murakami just had the opportunity on a few occasions, couldn't land the blow that she needed to. So the patience, it's got to be said, of Kloth and Nuss, the USA combination, they have snuck out to the lead 13-12. They'd given away the lead a few times to the Japanese combination, but neither team really making a break for it yet. Kloth back to the service line. Hashimoto to Murakami. There is a nice hard-driven cross-court ball. So that'll give us some confidence. The number 2 for Japan, Reika Murakami, the 25-year-old. This Japanese combination, they played in the recent Beach Pro Tour event in Mexico in La Scala. And they finished 33rd in that event, which isn't, I'm sure, the result that they were after. So they've come to Australia to try and get some World Tour points, build some confidence. They are through to the medal rounds. Nice read by Nuss on the roll shot. The layout was excellent, and the cut shot was then spectacular. Gosh, that's an underrated skill, folks, to be able to read the defense, get the layout dig, but then get up again. She leapt out of the sand in a flash and then hit a perfectly balanced roll shot cross court. Gets a 14-13 lead for her trouble. And the drop shot, couldn't get that one. So 14 points apiece, really nothing between these two teams. Hope you're enjoying the coverage from Coolangatta Beach, women's semi-final number 1 at the Gold Coast Futures event for a spot in the gold medal match. Let us know where you're watching online. Are you watching in Japan? Yorashimasu, konnichiwa, hello. Are you watching in the States? Cheering for your girls, I hope you are. Privileged to bring you this world-class beach volleyball action. The Japanese ladies hit back through Murakami. It is neck and neck at the moment. It's now 15-14. The Japanese ladies take the lead. We go to 21 points, folks. First team to 21 with a 2-point margin wins the first set. Just down the line she goes. Reika Murakami trying to sneak an ace down the sideline, but couldn't quite tag the line. So 15 points apiece. Kloth now. She's been really solid so far in this first set. Very few errors. And the Japanese girls, well, this is going to be an arm wrestle. I don't see either team really putting their foot down at this stage. Neck and neck, 16-15. This might be one of those epic battles that goes deep into the 20s. That's a nice touch. Hashimoto will get a transition opportunity. Can't land it. Nuss to make amends, and make amends she does off the top of Hashimoto's block. So just when you think a team's going to get a 2-point lead, the door slams shut again. 16 points apiece. women's semi-final number 1. Semi-final number 2 is coming up after this one. It's going to be Australia versus one of the other USA women's teams. So the USA, a real chance of getting some medals. They'll get 1 medal. I think we can guarantee that. Just not sure what colour it is. So there you go, a little change of tempo and an error from the Japanese combination. So they'll call a timeout. Just checking the scoreboard reads 18-15. So we're just catching up on that one. Apologies for those watching at home. Scoreboard is now correct. 18-15 in favour of the team from the USA. So they've got a little lead. We talked about it being neck and neck, and then just a couple of errors, a little kind of uncharacteristic missteps from the Japanese combination, Hashimoto and Murakami. All of a sudden, they are under pressure here in the first set. Women's semi-final number 1. Look at our court attendance. I can watch those boys work for hours. I don't mind telling you, folks. But here's the real stars of the show. It is the ladies. Suzuka Hashimoto, Reika Murakami. They're going to be left of screen. The Japanese combination with a little bit of work to do all of a sudden at 18-15 down against Taryn Kloth and Kristen Nuss. The qualifiers from the USA, gosh, we've made them work hard here in Coolangatta. And she has landed that on the baseline. Can you believe? Out of the timeout, Kristen Nuss has hit the back edge of the line with the serve. And that is a crushing blow, 19-15. Yeah, that's a nice swing. Murakami, that's the one they needed to land. Going to change ends with the 16-19 scoreboard. Team USA, though, have all the scoreboard pressure going against the Japanese at the moment. And for Kristen Nuss and Taryn Kloth from the USA, 1 good dig set spike routine, and they will have a set point. So the pressure on Japan to do something from the service line. Oh, and they can't land it. So there it is, the service error. And a 20-16 scoreboard means that there are 4 set points for Team USA. And who better than Taryn Kloth to go back to the baseline? See if she can get a big block to finish the first set. Set point number 1, USA. Nuss is there on defense. She'll get a transition roll shot. Goes for a little bit too much, though. You could see what she was thinking. She was always going to slice that ball cross court, but Hashimoto was there or thereabouts. Oh, no, it's been called a net touch on Japan. My apologies. So there it is. The USA thought they'd lost that point. We all had, but the Japanese ladies put their hand up and said, we touched the net. So the first set is in the bag, and it goes to the qualifiers from the USA. Taryn Kloth, Kristen Nuss. And when we come back, semi-final number 1 will continue. Hello and welcome back to Coolangatta Beach, Australia. The Beach Pro Tour, the Gold Coast Futures event here at beautiful Coolangatta Beach. Hello, wherever you're watching in the world, give us a shout out. Let us know where you are tuning into the action. Women's semi-final number 1 in the first set is in the books, and it's gone to the USA team, the 16 seeds. Taryn Kloth and Kristen Nuss. Team USA left of screen up against Suzuka Hashimoto and Reika Murakami. Second set now underway. Kloth is going to get a hard-driven opportunity. That set was very inviting. Not even for a millisecond did she think about hitting a shot on that. She was always going to pound that ball away. So we're underway again. 1 set to love, 1 point to nil. Second set action for a spot in the gold medal game. Loser goes to the bronze playoff. That ball's got to come over because Kloth got a little touch on the block. Gosh, that would have been a heartbreaker early on for the Japanese if that had caught the baseline, but not to be. In beach volleyball, folks, if you're not an ardent supporter, and you should be, but that's okay. Unlike the indoor game, if the blocking player touches the ball during the course of the rally, that automatically counts as one of your 3 allowed touches on the ball. So that's why you saw Taryn not trying to set her partner on that last rally. She just got the merest touch on the ball, so it meant she had to put the next one that came back to her into play. There's a few subtle differences between the indoor and the beach game. One of the other differences is you less names to remember on your team on the beach game. I always like that. Remember her name, Taryn Kloth. She's really announced herself on the world stage this weekend, as has Kristen Nuss, her partner. 2 points all now. Hashimoto, Murakami. A little bit of work to do. That's a good start. Yes, indeed. Loving the joy from Murakami on the back end of that serve. Straight down the middle. You can see Kloth making a little subtle adjustment to her hip and feet position. She just closed off that seam a little bit more. Doesn't matter though, the ball into the net. So we play point per rally. So it's gone point for point. 3-all is the score. As you saw in the first set. First team to 21 points with a 2-point margin will win the set. So the USA in control of this match at the moment. Japan trying to hit back in the second. Japan win this set, well then we decided with the third set. If we don't need the third set, well then that's all she wrote. We're going to change ends with a 4-3 scoreboard. Japanese combination. Suzuka Hashimoto and Reika Murakami. Quietly going about their business. They were really super solid in the first set. Just 1 or 2 errors at a bad time. Went from being about 16 all to all of a sudden they were 19-16 down or thereabouts. And that was enough to invite the USA in. But that's a nice serve again. So that middle serve, a little bit problematic for the USA combination. I speculated whether they would still be fresh and full of vim and vigour, the USA combination, from all of the matches they've played. And they seem pretty good so far, but that middle serve is causing some confusion in this second set. Oh, hard-driven ball. That's frustrating for Hashimoto. She decided not to block, and she was on her way back into a good defensive posture, but maybe about half a step from where she wanted to be and couldn't really get the play. So 4-5. Kloth back to the service line. And the wraparound set, just asking too much, I think, of Reika Murakami. She'd done all the hard work, but then found the set just out of her reach to really have an effective play at it. Tried to hit a knuckleball cross court, just couldn't get it into play. So 5-all, that little advantage they had, snuffed out. Cut is the call. There we go. I've learned a new Japanese word. Cut, cut, cut. It's Japanese for hit the cut shot, partner. She did it beautifully. 6-5. Must-win set for Japan. And they mustn't feel like they did much wrong in the first set, but they look up at the scoreboard and see they're trailing in the match 1-0 to this really proficient USA combination. And that sort of power on the ball from Taryn Kloth is a big reason why they just couldn't get a foothold. They sided out pretty well. We call it a side out when you are the team that receive the serve and you win the rally. We say that's a side out. Whether you get a service error like that or you dig set spike your way to the point. There was a time in the sport where you could only win a point when you were serving the rally. And the side out concept meant a little bit more from that point of view. But now you win a point, whatever happens during the rally, whoever wins that point, you serve out, the opposition get the point. How's that angle? That is just astute and athletic. Taryn Kloth, she likes that spot on that side of the beach, that little cross-court angle. She used that really well in the first set. It looks like she's found it again. We'll change ends at 7-all. Kloth again, well handled though. Oh, but she stays and plays and slays above the net. Taryn Kloth just causing some real problems at the moment for the Japanese combination. They go out to an 8-7 lead for Murakami and Hashimoto. They're trying everything to try and get ahead of this match. They just can't shake off this determined USA combination. They are showing no signs of fatigue or wear and tear from several days of beach volleyball action here at Coolangatta Beach. That's a nice roll shot, though. That's exactly what the Japanese ladies need. 8 points apiece. One more match after this one, folks. Our second women's semi-final, the USA combination of Tony Rodriguez and Susanna Muno, up against the Australian and number one seeded combination of Nikki Laird and Phoebe Bell for a spot in the gold medal match. So, oh, has she taken the net? No, she didn't. That was a clean swing. Just for a moment, I thought she'd taken a piece of the net. So we've got USA versus Australia in the second semi. Currently, the match underway is USA versus Japan. And the USA combination have already put one set on the board. And it was actually this combination from the USA in the same pool as the Australian number one seeds that won their pool. They beat the Aussies. So if by some permutation that it's Australia, USA again in the gold medal match, well, I think the American girls on the left of screen will have plenty of confidence from having defeated the Aussie girls earlier in the tournament. So scoreboard now 10-8. And not unlike the first set, there's just those moments where Hashimoto and Murakami have let little groups of points slip away. The consistency of Kloth and Nuss is what has really impressed me. They just don't make back-to-back errors. Yes, they make errors. Yes, they're forced in errors by a good Japanese team, but they don't back them up with errors. So that's a hard-driven ball. That's a point won by the Japanese and not an error from Team USA. But more often than not, they've been able to go back, refocus, and side out strongly on a Japanese serve. 9 points to 10 now. So that's an 11-9 scoreboard now. The Japanese ladies missing the opportunity to serve with some pressure. Kloth back to the service line. She'd love to go into the technical timeout with a 3-point scoreboard. That's going to sit up in her sweet spot. And she touched the net, and she knew it too. Boy, oh no, reach in is the call. I beg your pardon. So a little lucky break perhaps for the Japanese combination, but we go into the technical timeout. The USA 11 leading Japan 10. Welcome back to the athletes out on a centre court. Set number 2, women's semi-final number 1. The USA combination of Taryn Kloth and Kristen Nuss won the first set pretty well, 21-16, up against this Japanese combination of Suzuka Hashimoto and Reika Murakami. Combination of Hashimoto and Murakami, they've had first, seconds and thirds on the Japanese national tour, so they are very well credentialed on their domestic tour. They've had some great results in the last 12 months. This is obviously a step up. That's what this event's all about. Taking those upcoming emerging athletes from their national tours and putting them on the world stage. We talked about how the American combination have won on their AVP tour, and they've had some other strong finishes there as well. So the Gold Coast Futures event and all of the Futures events on the calendar this year are about giving a pathway, bringing teams out onto the national or the world stage that are not part of the top 16 teams in the world. It's going to have to come over from Kloth, and it's going to come over with some alacrity. That is, I'm excited for her. She's showing no emotion. She is all business. Taryn Kloth just given the Japanese girls nothing at the net at the moment. 13-10, a 3-point lead. That'll disappoint Kristen Nuss, the 24-year-old, drilling that ball into the net. But again, they just don't seem to make back-to-back errors. They seem to have really great mental strength, the USA combination. We'll call that one an error. But then the Japanese girls can't make them pay for that error. So if anything, it's the Japanese ladies who are compounding bad upon bad. That brings up 14-11 on the scoreboard. Kloth drop serve. And that is, again, an error and a disappointing one. She got out of position, Murakami. The ball sort of got behind her head. Little light breeze coming through, so enough to play a little bit of havoc on the ball, but that will disappoint the Japanese athlete. 15-11 now. Kloth intelligently goes straight back at her. And the response is much better from Reika Murakami, the 25-year-old, putting the hammer down. 12-15 though, but not unlike the first set, just those little moments where they let a couple of points leak and they put themselves under incredible scoreboard pressure as a result. Back to Kloth. That set is super hittable. She just decides to slice and dice. Wheeling and dealing above the net is Taryn Kloth on a really nice set from Kristen Nuss, her partner. So they'll change ends 16-12 and looking quite comfortable. The qualifying team from the US, Taryn Kloth and Kristen Nuss, one set to love leading this match, and now 16-12 in the second. Are they on the cusp of booking a spot in the gold medal match? Great athleticism. Nuss gets it back into play. Japan must compose themselves. Must find a winner, but Nuss is there. Oh, and then that's what craft at its highest level looks like. The defense from Nuss was absolutely beautiful, but the presence of mind after all of that defensive effort to wipe the ball off the block for the winner shows a lady experienced beyond her years. 17-12 now. That might have been a heartbreaker for the Japanese ladies. And they compound it with an error. They're going to call a timeout, I'd imagine, because the pressure is on. The scoreboard, 18-12, is not doing them any favours in the second set of women's semi-final number one. All right, beach volleyball fans, wherever you are watching on the Volleyball World channel, give us a shout out. Let us know you're watching. I hope you're enjoying the coverage. My name is Jonathan Fogarty, and I hope you are loving this match as much as I am. It has been some wonderful beach volleyball. The USA combination, Kloth and Nuss, are in control of this match now, up against Hashimoto and Murakami. And that ball is in, and you can't help but think that was a massive moment for the Japanese ladies. They needed that point. They needed to stem the bleeding because they were point for point for point, and then the USA ladies with some consistent defense and then good offense have managed to open up a handy lead at 13-18. They are only 3 points away from a spot in the gold medal game. Uncharacteristic from Taryn. She's been so dependable. Even from off the net, as that ball was, we expected so much better from her. She set such a high standard. Maybe I'm expecting too much. The serve's a good one. Under pressure now, the USA out of the timeout. Japan finding a little bit of something at the northern end of the beach. Nuss, though, she's been so industrious, so busy. Has the sneaky peek at the defense. That is classical beach volleyball defense from the 24-year-old. Had the poise and the composure to get the defensive play, trusted her partner would set a decent ball for her to hit, looked away from the ball to see where the defense was settling, then hits the winner. That is an incredible skill set. Nice roll shot. Haven't seen enough of Hashimoto. They've done a good job of keeping the ball away from the number one from Japan. The 28-year-old has had so few opportunities to really express herself. 15-19 the scoreboard. USA combination, Taryn, Kristen are going to be helped by a serve that goes out. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Taryn Kloth, Kristen Nuss are going to change ends at 20 points to 15 in the second set. 5 match points on the board. Team USA within touching distance of the top 2 steps on the podium. We don't know whether it'll be gold or silver. They've got to go play the gold medal match. But they are 1 point away from a guaranteed medal, and maybe it'll be the top of the podium. Japan, have they got a little fight back in them? Kloth will get a chance to finish it on her terms. Nice touch, Hashimoto. Oh, but Kloth is massive, and she shuts it down. And we see our first team into the gold medal, and it is Team USA. Taryn Kloth, Kristen Nuss, 21-16, 21-15 have defeated a very gallant team from Japan in Suzuka Hashimoto and Reika Murakami, and they will go to the bronze medal match. And next up, women's semi-final number 2, Nikki Laird and Phoebe Bell from Australia up against the USA's Tony Rodriguez and Susanna Muno.